Have you ever felt like you are just throwing tactics at the wall and just trying to see what sticks? I know I've been here. Today, I want to try and figure out why this might not be working and what we should be doing instead. One of the key lessons that I have been able to take from the last few months of this project is the importance of a solid strategy before we even start thinking about tactics. If you find yourself mixing these things up, you're not sure what the difference is between a strategy and a tactic, you're in exactly the right place because that's what I want to get to the bottom of today. If you've been feeling overwhelmed and trying to figure out your path to success, I've got just the thing that might help. It's my brand new 5-minute daily planning and continuous improvement checklist. It's been specifically designed for solo entrepreneurs who are having a tough time balancing out all the things that are important to them. If this sounds interesting, simply let me know and I'll shoot it straight through, no strings attached. Hello and welcome back to the From Zero to Marketing Hero podcast. I'm Paul Heron. I'm a transformational coach dedicated to helping entrepreneurs remove the resistance that's in their way and help them show up authentically and start taking bold action towards what truly matters most. Over the years, I've helped empower countless clients to break through barriers and harness their full potential. This podcast is my latest way of pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Over the last 5 years, I have predominantly outsourced all my marketing, and I recently decided this is the year I'm going to figure this stuff out. So for the next 12 months, I am creating, posting, uploading a podcast episode every single day to document my journey and to give you guys a bit of an insight into all the highs and lows along the way. So without any further ado, let's jump into today's episode. I think many out there have been in this exact same position where we kind of have a bit of a plan of what it is that we're wanting to achieve. In my case, it's to get my head around marketing and to really truly understand or develop my own recipe for what that is going to look like to me. My ultimate goal is to be able to understand myself, understand who I'm here to serve, really become clear on the problems that my ideal clients are facing, to be able to craft offers and a message that resonates with them, and to be able to attract these people into my world. This is my overall plan. Well, that's the goal that I want to work towards. Now, my tendency for most of this journey so far up to this point is really just to start having a bit of a think about the things I need to be doing. And I've fallen into this trap many times where I am just trying different things without any cohesive plan or strategy. I know we'll touch on the word strategy in a moment, but just jumping straight into doing different things, listening to everybody else, what they've got to say, you should be doing this. From a marketing perspective, it's things like you should be on TikTok, you should be doing YouTube shorts. Everyone seems to have their own little piece of advice that they're giving me. It's been fantastic that there are so many people interested in my journey. But what that can lead to is this situation where we're just trying so many different things. We're not really sure what's working, what's not. We've got no way of measuring progress. And it really does lead to this situation where we're just spinning wheels. So over the past few weeks, I've really been having a think about what the strategy is that I want to employ through this journey. And I thought it would be a fantastic opportunity to spend some time today giving my thoughts on what the distinctions are between strategy and tactics, and a little insight into how I have started to think about these two things very differently. So we kind of painted a little bit of a picture there on what tactics are, but I might just come back to strategy. And the definition that I have sort of come to understand and embody is this definition where we look at our goal. So the goal in many ways is the target that we're trying to work towards, that ultimate vision of what it is that we're trying to create. And I think having that in place is an essential first step before we even start thinking about strategy. But once we've got that goal in place, skipping straight to the actions, as we said earlier, without a plan, I'm just visualizing this now. We've got this target that we're working towards, jumping straight into moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour, not knowing what or why we are doing various different activities. I can sort of visualize how chaotic and crazy that is in a way to approach things that way. But as I said, that's been my go-to in many ways, has been just to jump in and start doing things and seeing what happens. So for me, and I'm not sure, I'd love to know how you guys think actually. Do you guys resonate with this? Or, for me, it was just a little bit foreign to hit the pause button a little bit and zoom out and start to have a think about the how. So we've got this target off in the distance, and the strategy piece really is the blueprint that we are going to commit ourselves to in terms of how we're going to start moving towards that longer term vision. The strategy is less about the specifics of individual activities, and it is more about the blueprint. It's more about that high level, long-term strategic plan that will be used as your guide in getting you from where you are right now to that place in the future that you have described with your vision. Now, applying this back to my own circumstances and my own business, when I think about understanding marketing and where I want to be, there are a few things that come to mind when I think about strategy. The first is that this is in the main all about me learning and uncovering a lot of this stuff myself, or doing the work myself at least anyway. From a strategic point of view, I have a few options available to me. I could continue to outsource some of this stuff. I could get agencies involved with helping out with my marketing. But one of the things that is really important for me in going through this process is the figuring out of this stuff. It's me jumping in the deep end and embodying some of the things that I've been learning. So from a strategic point of view, or from a strategy point of view, that's one element that is really important. The second that comes to mind is however I go about this, it needs to be in line with who I am and my values. And for that reason, a big part of the approach that I have chosen from a strategic point of view is learning to create value-driven content. And value-driven content that really highlights who I am and what I've got to offer, and ultimately resonates with my ideal client. So we have taking responsibility and ownership myself, value-driven content. And then the third thing from a strategy point of view, at least at this stage anyway, is to have as little resistance in between my message and creating conversations with my ideal client. And when I say as little resistance as possible, what I mean is my goal is to start as many conversations as I can. So I want to be creating content with the aim of starting conversations. I want to get into as many conversations as I can with my ideal clients so I can learn as much as I can about them, about the challenges they're facing, and I can start designing products based on the conversations that I'm having. Right at this moment, I'm actually not generating many conversations through my own marketing. This is obviously the goal, but right now I have scope to drastically increase the number of conversations I'm creating. So the strategy that I am applying is valuable content. I don't want anything getting in the way of that. For example, I don't want to be requiring a potential client to enter email addresses, fill in forms, or anything like that. I don't want that resistance in the way. I want to be creating content and just having these conversations. So I guess in a nutshell, that's a simple version or a simplified version of my strategy. And I think what that provides to me is a roadmap of what I am trying to achieve. It allows me to break down my ultimate goal or that ultimate vision, and kind of in some ways allows me to see that in the form of a timeline. Well, that's what I visualize anyway when I start to think about this. It's guiding me in terms of the things that are most important to me, and it will continue to be something that I can keep coming back to when making decisions about the specific actions that I'm going to try next. And I guess that brings me to tactics. Now, the way that I see tactics as the individual actions that we are going to commit to taking. And I'm just thinking out loud as I say this. I see the strategy as probably remaining pretty consistent throughout this whole process. I can't see that changing too much, but the tactics may. There's probably one more thing that I would like to add in the strategy side of things. And that is this continuous improvement mindset that I've been talking about the whole way through. collecting data and making decisions on what I am going to be doing and continuing to do and improvements that I make to the things that I'm doing based on as much evidence as I can collect as possible. And I think that then becomes part of that strategy as well. So it's producing content and having a way of collecting as much information as we can to be able to make healthy decisions on a day-to-day basis. So even over the last few months since I've been doing this, my tactics have changed a little bit. When I dived in, the strategy, even though it might not have been as consciously defined as what I just mentioned a moment ago, the strategy was probably there. It was at least 3/4 of the way formed, but I had no idea on the tactics. I had no idea about how I was going to get this stuff moving. When I first started, it was nothing more than just showing up and doing this podcast. If you've been following along, you'll know that over recent weeks, it's moved to being quite specific in a Facebook or Meta strategy that I've been putting together over the last few weeks. So if the tactics are the specific actions that we're committing ourselves to, mine at the moment are to continue with this podcast. They are to continue to utilize Instagram and Facebook videos. One of my tactics is to have my highest 2 or 3 longer form videos. And when I say longer form, for me, that's between 3 and 5 minute videos. I want to have a little bit of ad spend put on those top 3 videos, all with the goal of generating as many 25% views as I possibly can. I've got a tactic there to continuously try and improve and refine those videos. So my plan is each week, the lowest performing one will be turned off and I'll be trying to beat the best performing videos. So I'll be continuously creating content as one of the tactics. Then I have another tactic of generating conversations through reel type videos, under 60-second videos. And exactly the same thing. I want to have the top 2 or 3 performing reels with a little bit of ad spend added to them. A slightly different goal for them. I want to be generating conversations in the form of providing value, in the form of value bombs. I'm hoping to move some of those conversations into messenger conversations, hopefully into sales calls, and hopefully into clients into my business. This is the tactic that I'm applying at the moment. It's still very early days at the moment, and I'm really just focusing on the 3 to 5 minute videos and the reels, optimizing, creating fresh content every week. And that alone as a tactic is already providing tremendous value. I will have to keep reflecting to ensure that this tactic is working. Over the coming weeks, I'm going to start retargeting some of the video views, and I am excited to see where this can go. But I think this is just a really good example of the tactics I've got in place at the moment. I'm hoping will lead me towards that longer term goal that I'm looking for. But if these tactics don't work for any reason, I will have to look further afield and try different things. This whole process will be about trying different things and testing to hopefully get me to a point where I am making progress in line with my strategy. So I hope this helps to clarify that distinction between strategy and tactics. As I say, in my mind, the strategy is essentially the blueprint for how you're going to make or turn your vision into a reality. And the tactics are the specific actions you are going to take on a weekly, on a daily basis. And I think it's the tactics that will change and evolve much more quickly than the strategy. So if you're still trying to nail down a winning strategy of your own, don't forget about my 5-minute daily planning and continuous improvement checklist. It's a simple tool, but it is really the foundations of exactly what we're talking about here. It will take you only 5 minutes a day. I've got a quick 5-minute video to go with it that will show you exactly how to use it. And it really can get you striking that balance between everything that's important to you and starting to build forward momentum towards your own vision. All you need to do is reach out, let me know, and I will send it straight through. The best place to contact me is to head over to my website, paulheronlifecoaching.com. There's a few different ways you can reach out there, but finding my messenger link might be the easiest. So just reach out and I will send it straight through. If you are enjoying the show, it'd be fantastic if you could take a moment to hit pause and hit the subscribe button. It really does go a long way in helping to share the show with a wider audience. So if you can hit that subscribe button, I would be truly thankful. And until tomorrow, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.